Hi everyone, it's been a while. Here we're back for the episode 193 for a new anime content. So this time we are going to cover the 2026 spring, including three shows, which had Atelier, Nippon Sangoku, and Awajima Hyakkei. So me, Mario is the host, and here with me is, as always, Whooper.
Hey, I'm here, and I disavow the use of the word content in the introduction.
Mhm.
I can tell you've been watching like more YouTube recently, or God forbid, short
Yep.
form video, if you're using that word.
Contain.
I don't approve.
All right. All right, Whooper, have you watched a lot of shows in this season so far?
No, I've seen these three and most of Dorohedoro's second season,
Right.
which is great so far. I haven't watched the last three episodes. I've been saving them,
Mm.
but I'm quite happy with the sequel, which is good because it was a big favorite of mine when it came out 6 years ago, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Um, so apart from Dorohedoro, I can never choose how to pronounce it. And these three shows that we're about to discuss, I haven't seen beyond like one or two episodes of anything else. But of course, there are shows like Demons of the Shadow Realm.
Yep.
I would prefer to use the Japanese title, but I don't remember it. And then Akane Banashi, the like Rakugo
Mm.
Shonen Jump adaptation,
Yep.
and probably a bunch of others. I've seen some chatter about Kamina Botan, which is the like a slice of life show about girls drinking in a college setting.
All right.
Apparently, every episode uses a different art style or is directed by somebody different at least,
Mm.
which is interesting to me. So there's more
Very,
stuff to watch from this season, but I haven't gotten around to much of it.
yeah, very interesting. I think I watched like four episodes of Demons of the Shadow Realms. Um, I haven't got into Dorohedoro, which I will at the end of the year.
Yeah, you'll just need to refresh your memory of some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would want to rewatch the first season or just like find a YouTube video with someone recapping it.
Yeah.
You can also just throw yourself into the second season. I mean, even if you do refresh your memory of who all the characters are and what the story so far is,
Hmm.
uh, you'll still get lost in the second season because it's insane.
Yeah. It's I think it's a good thing. Like like once in a while we have a show that come just like unpredictable, just disregard any linear narrative, and we just like kind of enjoy the show, enjoy what it is.
Yeah, that show's definitely like that.
Yeah.
I would say it's told mostly linearly, but it does jump around like not just from place to place, but from dimension to dimension.
Yeah.
Uh, it's non-linear in that respect, I guess.
Yeah. We have another show that we about to discuss that might be like that as well. So
Yeah, oh, it
that kind of
definitely is.
interesting. Yeah.
Not the dimensions
Uh.
thing, but definitely
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. What do you think of the three shows in general that we are about to discuss?
Well, I would say one of them. So yeah, it's interesting. One performed pretty much how I expected it to. Maybe it was slightly disappointing. One
Right.
really overperformed. I thought was a lot better than I expected it to be, and
Huh.
one severely underperformed and was like a kind of a big disappointment. So
Right.
all over the
Interesting.
board for me.
All right. All right. Let's see if we have the same assessment on each of the show then. Shall we jump into the specific?
The specifics. What do you mean by that?
Just jump straight into the shows.
Oh yeah, why not?
All right. Let's go with Nippon Sangoku first.
Okay. All right, let me get my all my notes up. All right, there they are. Yeah, so this show, it's set in the future after a nuclear event, I guess,
Hmm.
so that it can retell like a medieval tale, the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but in a modern setting. And there
Right.
are apparently like I read some stuff online about the dialogue in the show having references to the way people used to talk via like text messages.
Right.
Do you remember in the subs in one of the last episodes? I don't know whether it was the last one or the penultimate one, but a
Mm.
character said like three or four words, and the subs just said LMFAO.
Yep. 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 I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember that.
Apparently, that was actually more common than just that one instance. Like there were other uh, moments where characters used kind of acronyms and like internet slang in conversation because that apparently stuck around in their language, even though all of that technology is lost. Which I
Right.
thought that was interesting for me to read because that didn't come across to me as a non-Japanese speaker. I'm also not that familiar with Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I mean, I know who Zhuge Liang is,
Mm.
Kong Ming, or Ko
Mm.
Mei, as the Japanese would refer to him. I think he is the character who inspired Aoteru, sort of the main character of the show.
Mm.
Because in the OP, you see that shot of him like up on a cliff, and he's holding that kind of feathered fan, and then he like brings it down, and the camera moves down so you can see all the waves underneath him. I don't know. Did you
Mm.
watch the OP for this
I
show?
watch it. I watch it like 2 or 3 times.
Two or three, bro. I watch it every
Only.
week. It's so
Nope.
good.
Skip.
I'm pretty sure he is the inspiration for Aoteru's character is Kong Ming.
Hmm.
Not so sure about everybody else though.
Yeah. Oh boy. I really enjoy the tour the show got into. Like for the first episode, since the first episode, we see that it can be hilarious at times. It can be brutal, and it's a lot of like uh overreacted as well for the
Yeah.
characters. Like we got many of like the stunned expression of the other people, but like Arturo in particular just playing straight for the whole time. Um, I enjoy all that. I enjoy the show, the whole way through until the last episode where I just think that it just like just speed speed through like time two. We just got everything to happen so quickly in the last episode to just run up the this arc.
Hmm. You think?
I think so. Like
Uh,
I would like a few more episodes just to see like uh the last event that unfold in the last episodes.
yeah, but I mean the thing is this of course this is like a military show. It's retelling Romance of the Three Kingdoms with I assume other influences in there as well.
Mm,
But it's less about, warfare and more
mm,
about politics, I
mm-hmm,
think, overall, because much of the quote unquote action of the show is characters talking in rooms, like trying to outsmart one another, trying to curry
mm,
favor with the people who, like, emperors or dictators um, or their superiors in general. And so after episodes 10 and 11 spent a lot of time getting Aoteru into a position where he could appeal to the emperor and the emperor could finally because the emperor is what is he, the son-in-law of Taira,
yep,
the guy who's always
yep,
making flashing the peace sign.
yep, 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 yep.
Um, there was so much time spent on getting Aoteru into a position where he could get the emperor to sign off on like the fake retreat.
Mm,
Um, that was really prioritized, you could tell, compared
mm,
to the actual enactment of the plan, where we got the CG scrapped cars uh,
mm,
falling down into the valley and killing a bunch of troops.
yeah, yeah,
So I think it kind of made sense for the actual events to unfold so quickly after all of that build up of like the emperor finally, um, you know, not fighting back against his father-in-law, but you
mm,
know, being less of a coward, I guess,
yeah.
and
Stand for
actually,
himself.
yeah. Of course, that doesn't go well, and that's why I think episode 12 sort of works. Is that uh, if there's going to be like a reversal of fortune, and even after this plan works, Ryumon is imprisoned along with Aoteru, and Taira like seizes control of the government, locks down the palace, and essentially becomes shogun. With the
Mm,
emperor being, relegated to just ceremonial duties, as which is the position that the emperor was in for a long period of Japanese history, where the shogunate,
mm,
the military had all the power. I think for that to flip so quickly kind of makes sense.
mm, mm,
Because if it were to happen slowly, people might be able to intervene and
mm.
like resist Tyra's plot.
Yeah. I think the scenes come afterward, after the emperor decided to, like to put up the decree against Tyra consent. It actually is very interesting to me because we have the next scene where Tyra, like playing uh the the chess with one of his, under uh one of his staff,
I think
and
he's
that's
specifically like his top strategist in the same way that
yeah,
Ryumon relies on Kaku, the guy who falls
mm,
ill and dies in the
yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
episode. Taira
Mm.
has his own strategist. Yeah, and you do
He
see him playing shogi with him. I wrote it down his
yeah.
name, but I can't remember it.
Yep, he's the one who do all the execution as well. In any way, Tyra, he actually on that scene, he's the one time that he doesn't really overact, and that kind of like taken me aback as well. Like this guy, he actually, like kind of, he's scheming something, but he actually, you know, in that scene alone, he's just not just a clown. He I actually kind of surprised by the way the show depict him on that scene in particular.
Yeah, he's more serious there, I suppose.
Mm,
He's not in public. He doesn't have to put up the weird front of him being kind of a kooky old man, I guess.
mm, yeah, yeah,
And at that point, he already has in mind what he's going to do
right,
in response to Ryumon and Kaku and Aoteru enacting this successful strategy.
yeah,
Oh, and we can't forget Sunechan-san, uh, the guy with the bob cut who's always thinking. There, we always get his internal monologue about how awesome he is. He's introduced in the second episode after we get,
yeah,
Aoteru's backstory and see the story of how Taira
yeah.
executed
Hey,
his wife and all that.
yeah. I think whatever the next act gonna be, he will play the vital role as well because I think he's the only one who not get into jail
Right.
after Tyra, trying to put everyone into, to jail, repress them. So I think he's gonna be the one of the main characters here.
Yeah. And I think that works because given that Sunechan was introduced in the second episode when I think he was like the first character that Aoteru encountered when he made his way to Osaka for
Mm-hmm,
that test that they take under Ryumon. The name of the test is the Toryumon, where you have to
mm-hmm,
bring that guy to his knees. And if you do, you get a position as like an officer in the army.
yeah,
Um, I mean, he's introduced so soon, relatively speaking, in this 12 episode first core. I assume there's going to be a sequel,
mm,
and yet he plays a very distant second fiddle, I think, to Aoteru. He's a
yeah,
lot of his internal monologue. It's interesting the way that his relationship is framed to Aoteru because Aoteru is more wordy externally, but we don't
mm,
get many of his inner thoughts. Whereas Sune-chan is kind of annoyed by how wordy Aoteru is. He doesn't speak as much, but we hear much more of his internal monologue about how he's so
yeah,
great and he comes from this really prestigious family
yeah,
and he's going to be the one to change the world and, yada, yada, yada. So it's
yeah,
interesting that those two characters are opposed to one another, at least in terms of personality.
yeah,
And the way that they, the approach that they have to that test, the Toryumon, where they have to bring General Ryumon to his knees, is
mm,
also kind of indicative of their different approaches because
yeah, mm,
Sune-chan does it, through uh,
force.
force. He like I can't remember exactly what he does. He draws his
Uh,
sword, but that's only like a
he
feint, right?
no,
It's a fake.
no. He actually tried into to put down Ryumon Hill so that Ryumon had to kneel down anyway. So he actually tried to hurt Ryumon, but because Ryumon is so skilled and he know about that, he he kind of like defend himself against that, and
But he
then
does still
afterwards,
end up kneeling, right?
yeah, he still end up kneeling, and afterward, Yoshi kind of like apologize him for like going all the way.
Right. I remembered in that scene there was like he initially swung at him, but it was just a feint so that he could actually target a different part of his body or something
Hmm.
along
Hmm.
those lines. Um,
Hmm.
but who
All
knows
right, I might.
where that memory is
Yeah,
coming from?
I
Anyway,
might be wrong.
Aoteru takes a different approach. Like he presents him with the
Yep.
agricultural plan.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the characters are very different, and this season, which was way more, I guess, like politically. I mean, the show's always going to be political. That seems to be its bread and butter.
Yep.
Um, but there was a lot more talking and a lot less warfare.
Hmm.
And perhaps when we get into season two and Sune-chan plays a bigger role, um, being a military man coming from I think a military family because he sometimes talks and thinks to himself about the clan that he comes from, and his
Hmm.
mother in particular, who I don't think we've met. Uh, Once he takes a bigger role, maybe we're going to get more
Yep.
action.
Yep. Yep. I agree. But yeah, the whole the main point of this arc is the say revolution. Like they try to attack Yamato. So we got to learn about the say like all the characters, all the main characters as well. So they leading by Wachima, Oga Wachima, who is the girl of I think she a doctor of like some of these uh captain before.
Yeah, she was the daughter of Byako Wajima, who was the Western Expedition Commander,
Right.
who I think wanted to expand Sei's territory,
Hmm.
and he was killed by Ryumon.
Right. Right.
That's why she has a grudge.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing about like how she came into the power, how she rebelled against like the old Shay's regime, how she come into the power, how she lead uh her team like successfully across Yamato. They all play out really well. So and that's the take up like the book of this arc.
Yeah, though she, meets an inglorious end, I would say.
I still don't buy that she actual die though.
Oh, you think she's alive? Okay. Do
I
you?
think
Well,
she
here's
alive.
a question. Do you think
Yep.
that Tyra spared her life, or
No,
did she just manage to get away?
I think that she might have seen this coming beforehand, and she managed to fake her death. That's what I think.
Okay.
We do get the scene so that she got shot or she got you know uh attacked by the rebellions and die. But I don't think that's the way she ends in this story. It's too
Well,
awesome for that.
Yeah, and too cute. That's a big part of her character is that she's, whenever people listen to her speak or look at her speak or whatever, um, they're all like immediately charmed by her because she's so pretty.
Yeah, well,
Which is pretty funny. The show definitely has a humorous streak to it.
hmm,
Depicting ordinary people or like mid-level bureaucrats or military captains or whatever as just being kind of mindless hordes who all will hear somebody say something and then they'll go like, yeah, soda soda, yeah, yeah, what that guy said, yes, execute him, kill him, what
yeah,
what have you.
yeah,
They kind of have that same mentality towards her, like the herd mentality of, oh, we all worship her
yeah,
because she's so like personable and so beautiful and everything. Though there is that kind of miniature, in episodes 8 and 9, there's the empty fort stratagem that
right,
Where Ryumon like conducts a tea ceremony in the middle of a bridge during
yeah,
like a lightning storm or something.
yeah,
Surely that was a reference to like a specific event in Romance of the Three Kingdoms because it was too strange not to have
yeah,
like an exact analog. But she loses face as a result because she flees
yeah,
um, after the show that he puts on, and then her top strategist, what was his name? Yaya Kichi,
hmm,
has to like frame himself essentially for all of the mistakes that she has made, so that she can keep power. That
yeah.
was an interesting
Uh,
episode.
it's an interesting one. It's the one where I'm not sure where like the sacrifice that Yayakichi done really worth it in a way that like I think it would be much better that he would stay by her side, just like uh to do the strategy thing rather than like take all the blame so that Olga can like can be free of charge and like just head on without him. So
Well, she came to power through a coup d'état, which we saw in
right,
episode 4. That was like a 100% say episode.
right,
Um,
mm-hmm,
and given that she was a dictator, she didn't have like legitimate power. So if people
mm,
stopped obeying her, there's no like rule of law that would let her keep power.
mm,
Um, I think that was the idea. Like Yayakichi felt as though he had to sacrifice himself in order for her to maintain her standing. And it kind of makes sense for the show's MO of being about like great individuals and great moments in history. It
mm,
takes it take it like, it's about a big military, campaign, but a fight for power between these three nations. And we do see a little bit of Buo in episode 12, the last of
yeah,
this first core. They don't play a big role apart from that in this season. But it is, if the show does go on, it's going to be about all three of these kingdoms like jockeying for position.
yeah,
But it frequently like zooms in on particular people, particular
mm,
battles, particular uh, meetings between an emperor and a
yeah,
military advisor, for example.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I also think that like we get to see the main players of each nations, and when we get into Go we get to focus on one particular characters as well. So I think it also like the fight between the young and the old as well. That he had the young blood who gonna change the nation, and like maybe all of them, if including the says Oga Wachima, to unify the three nations. So maybe it's a young who like not thinking of like fighting, but more into like how to make the three nations become one
right.
in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that is Aoteru's ultimate goal.
mm, yeah,
Because when he thinks back to what Saki wanted for him, she expressed a desire for Japan to be like one
Yeah.
nation again.
Mm.
And that's what kicked off the the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
has to be Aoteru's goal. Although currently in prison, when he's doing all his thinking to himself and he's using that rock to like draw a diagram, I guess, of Japan on the floor of his cell.
Um, maybe he just draw a diagram of all Awajima characters. The one that
I
we.
think you would need more space than the floor of his cell for that.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he's kind of like, you know, he's kind of rallying. He's rallying himself, I guess, or putting
Mm.
on a good show
Yeah.
for the audience. Like if I have to be the one to start this revolution and no one is behind me, I'm still gonna provide that spark. But at the same time, he thinks to himself like, what we want is a solution, like through diplomacy, and we can't. No matter how hard we try, we can't seem to make that work. So
Mm.
when he eventually gets out, I'm thinking his strategy or his order of events is going to be first kill Tyra,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we can set out like defending ourselves from Sei or allying with Buo.
Yeah.
Because
Because if.
in that Buo scene, we do see there's the emperor who
Mm.
like dismisses everybody from the strategy meeting and starts to walk down, you know, kind of the middle of the meeting room with
Yeah.
people on either side, and then he stops and does like a shaft head tilt back towards a particular character whose name is Himehito, who apparently shares like he comes from the same family as the emperor of Yamato.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's foreshadowing there that that's a potential link between those two
Yeah.
kingdoms. Perhaps
And
like reunification can start with an alliance between those two.
yeah. And if anything that Otero learned about this group, this art in particular, is that like despite all the hard work, Tyrant like take all the initiative and like actually take all the advantages and like going through the attack to chase uh all the same. So yeah, I think he learned that in order to really unify the country he had to uh kill or eliminate Tyra first.
Yep. And
And one
progress
more
is not going to be
interesting thing.
possible with that guy
Yeah,
at the head of their kingdom.
agree. And one more interesting thing is that Tyra's son, the one that he put onto the battlefield,
Right.
uh is also affected by like by his scheme as well. So I wonder like where he stand like after this. If he's gonna trust his father anymore, or he's or I don't know, he gonna still like it is the extended arms of Tyra, of the Tyra, or the or the Tyra members. Like you can tell them apart from each other.
Well, I think it's possible that um, Aoteru, now that Kaku has passed on, Aoteru has kind of like inherited his will, I guess.
Right.
He,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not anything official, but the show makes a big deal out of, like you said, the old and new generations, like one
Yep.
the collaboration between them, or one kind of replacing or exceeding the other.
Yep.
Just the interaction between elder and younger members of these kingdoms is going to be, you know, what drives the story. I think
Mm-hmm.
that Aoteru um, may he may I don't know, like convince, what is Tyra's son's name? I think it's like Tonotsugu.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, Let
he
me
may
look it up.
convince him in order to like rebel against his father, because a
Mm-hmm.
sort of seed has already been planted in that Tonotsugu like arrested Go Sugo, who was one of the two. I don't know. Do you remember the Yamato like general of the left hand and general of the right hand? Do you remember those
Mm,
titles for like two generals?
I don't remember who they are, but
Okay.
go on, go on.
Well, one of them is was Go Sugo. He barely talked. He almost
Right.
never spoke, even when spoken to, and he really loved sugar cubes.
Uh-huh.
This was like a particular quirk of his character. He was like the strong silent type. He was like a really magnetic presence, I thought, and we didn't get much of him. But
Mm,
he and Tonotsugu, Taira's son, had to like work together in order to um,
yep.
survive, because there was that
Yep.
episode where Sei tried to eliminate them both
Mm,
when they brought them into the country and like pretended to cede part of their territory under false
yep.
pretenses.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Tonotsugu kind of understands, like, as that scene plays out, that his dad is has doesn't have his protection at the top of his list, and he kind of
Mm,
allies himself with Tsugo.
yep. Yep.
Um, so I don't know. There's something there. I can imagine that he'll turn against his father, and that Aoteru, him being the chief strategist of the show at this point, will have some hand in devising, whatever plan he can use to take down Tyra, perhaps
Mm,
with the cooperation of his son. I don't know.
yep. Very interesting. Yep. Uh, I think from what I understand, the manga it just like only one more arc has been produced, so not not much going on as well. So we don't really know about the big pictures in the future. But so is it my question is that is it the show that overperformed or underperforms on your book when you mentioned earlier?
Oh yeah, I no, it's the one that's kind of it did what I expected.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I enjoyed this show a lot. I like all the like politics. Yeah, I like all the politics and I like the humor as well. I think they have like some really cool characters. So yeah, I'm waiting for the second season to come, whenever that is.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this show is by Studio Kafka,
Yeah.
um, who haven't gotten a lot of work. I mean, they're the studio behind what's the name of that show with the red-haired girl who's the Ancient Magus Bride?
Uh-huh.
Um, that's what they're most known for, I think. And they haven't done a ton of other work. I'm sure there's
Mm,
like one big thing that I'm forgetting or I'm missing, but I don't believe that they're super in demand. So
mm,
perhaps we'll see, another season of this show before the end of the decade.
mhm.
Maybe.
It's 2026, so
Yeah.
uh,
Well, that leaves us 3 years basically.
yeah.
It's hard to tell when stuff will come out or if it'll come
Mm,
out. You
yeah.
know,
If this show is popular enough that they decided to have the second seasons, I
right?
think they do.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. You have any other notes before we jump into the other shows?
Um, not really. I mean, there's plenty more that I could say, but I would have to be like digging in the back of my brain to
Mm,
get it. Oh yeah, there. Do you remember episode 6?
yep.
Or hold up. Yeah, it is. I think it is episode 6. At the very end of episode 6, there's a scene at a particular castle that Yamato forces are holding, and it introduces
Right.
like the castellan of the castle.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Um, and there's like the lead up to a big battle scene because the castle is about to be sieged by that dude with the crazy mustache and like gray hairstyle from Sei.
Hmm.
And the castellan
Yep.
comes out of the castle and like introduces himself, and then the guy from Sei introduces himself, and then there's like a really awesome scene where the two armies charge at each other, and then it's intercut with like traditional Japanese music like taiko drums.
Oh, I
And
remember that. Hmm.
yeah, it was so awesome. And then cut to the start of episode 7, the battle's already over.
Yep.
I was so disappointed. It
Yep. Yep.
was a
I
really
think
amazing cliffhanger.
yeah. I think that of course with this show, it's not really about the battles. It's
Yeah.
about all the politics behind that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
and
kind of when my view of the show as being more politically and strategically oriented, like kind of crystallized, was in that
mm,
moment where I was like, oh, okay, so we're not going to get any super cool battles. That's why when we got to episode 12, I was like, yeah, this kind of checks out.
uh,
We're not going to get an awesome battle scene because it's more about the development of the war.
yeah, yeah. I think we did really mention about how Kaku and Ruemon trying to leave him behind for Aoteru to catch on, and
That
I
didn't make
really
any
think
sense to me.
no, I really think yeah, I really think that is a super hard clue to
Yeah.
leave. Like, why just don't tell him straight up? Like if he's the main players on your scheme, you might need to tell him a little bit more, right?
Well, they have some sort of line that they throw in order to justify how
Yeah,
vague Kaku was being when he gave those hints
yeah,
to Aoteru.
oh boy,
Aoteru says something like, "You can never convince the emperor of something if you're just parroting the words of another man. Like you have to
yeah,
arrive at the plan yourself in order to have the conviction to sway the
yeah,
emperor to your side." But
ridiculous.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah,
I think the clues that they left for him might be like maybe you need to be a Romance of the Three Kingdoms fan, or maybe you just need to be like well versed in Japanese in order to pick up on whatever like language related clues there were.
mm, right,
Uh, I didn't. I certainly didn't get it, but
no, yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Alrighty, all right. So we jump into which Hat Atelier.
Sure. Yeah, this was like the big show, right? Coming into this season.
Right. Yeah.
It was going to complete the big three of fantasy manga adaptations after Frieren and Dungeon Meshi,
All right.
and
All
everyone
right.
was like, "Oh, it's gonna be so amazing."
All right. I'm waiting where you're going with this.
Well, that was just the expectation was that the show was gonna like change the game, or at least be super impressive and all that.
Right.
And I thought it
Um.
was just I
Yeah.
man I wasn't too impressed with the show, man.
I. Yeah. I wasn't too impressed either. I think I kind of appreciate the world building that they build because there's a lot more going on after that. But like the very premise of this, like the like all the witch they draw instead of like casting the spell is I'm still like in a bit not buying that uh and all the characters I just don't care for the characters.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Um,
I think
a lot of the
yeah,
dialogue just feels so familiar.
I
Like
agree.
during the last few episodes, the which have been about this second test in the series of 5 tests that you need to become like a full-fledged
Yep,
witch,
yep.
where Riche and Agoto and what's his face, this new character who becomes like a shadow version of
Right.
himself somehow by like looking at the glyph on the inside of his robes.
Yeah.
A lot of their dialogue is really predictable. Like Riche saying the shonen type stuff. Like I want to be myself. I don't want to be someone who isn't who. I don't want to be someone who I'm not. And I don't want to do the things that I want to do. I want to do the things that I can do. I can only do the things that I can do. Uh, I'm sure that that is more impactful in Japanese, but when it's translated into English and it's like so kind of circular in nature, I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
man, what the hell is this? Why do
I
I
think the
care?
yeah, I think the other boy name is Uni.
Yeah, I think they pronounce it like Yurie. or
All right,
something.
medium. All right.
But yeah, he's the character with the bangs that cover up his eyes, and then of course whenever there's a scene where he like gets some more self-confidence or realizes that people aren't judging him and that he's free to express himself, then you see his
We
eyes
see
peeking out
guys.
from behind the fringes. It's just
Yep.
like you can everything the show does makes is kind of predictable and makes way too much sense in retrospect. Like
Mm-hmm.
there just don't seem to be a lot of risks taken here.
Yeah. I also don't really like the way that Coco overreact as well. Like she kind of bubbling, all right, but sometimes uh when she like over excited, she just like, it's a normal thing that we normally do see in anime. So she doesn't stand out. And all the other characters when they say something, like a bit harsh to even to Coco or I got told to Coco or to Riche, it's more like like bring them down as well, kind of like sorry, but with your current ability, you cannot help. You would be a dead weight. Deal with
Right.
it.
That's what Agot says to Riche when they're like deciding who's going to continue on and take those weird penguin things
Yeah, yeah,
to the end of the test and who's going to go back and try to save Urie, who's been
yeah,
transformed into like a shadow beast or something by one
yeah,
of the brimmed caps. Um, yeah.
yeah.
This
And
the show
then,
very it like it's very slow moving. Um,
mhm,
we spend multiple episodes on Tarta, the guy with silverwash syndrome,
right.
the apprentice of his grandfather who makes
Yep, yep, yep.
like what are they,
Ink.
quills or ink
Yep.
pens or whatever.
Hmm.
We spend a lot of time on his story. We spend a lot of time listening to Yurie's like inner monologue and how his sensei, his the witch that he trains under, is just dismissive of him and doesn't believe him in his abilities, and we have to spend like a long time with him coming out of his shell and realizing that he does have some potential and stuff. It's
Before,
just
yeah, before got turned it back into, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tata as well. Yep. It's just something that we seen in other shows, I guess.
well,
Doesn't really
yeah,
make them
it
stand
does
out.
feel too familiar. But even if the show hit a lot of familiar beats, I still think that it would benefit from speeding up a little bit.
Mm, mm,
Uh, yeah, just kind of
yeah.
just disappointing all around, honestly. Um, the the animation, the art and animation are consistently high level, um,
I agree.
but that's not really enough. I think
Hmm.
this show is kind of like the number one example, actually, of how high quality art and animation are not enough to make a show like stick in your memory.
Yeah.
Um,
I
at least the
guess
number one modern example.
I get the show still appealing for for the mainstream. It just doesn't really apply to us where we have seen almost all of this before, and they basically very little thing that stand out from it. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are people who've seen as much anime as we have, or a lot more even, who love the show. Everybody's tastes are different. Um, it, but it's not really for me. I don't think I'm going to continue with it.
Mm. Uh, how do you think about Quifrey? Like the length he go to protect Coco. He has to have some like personal agenda, right?
Yeah, I mean, he wipes the memory of Tarta's grandfather
Yep.
in order to what stop him from reporting to like the witch's home base, whatever it's called.
Yep.
Um, that he's got this. What is it? Is it the ink pot that he specifically wants to keep secret? Like
Yep.
the coin that kind of syncs the contents of the ink pot with the one that the brimmed cap has.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yeah. I think here's what I would prefer, I guess, if I were writing this or editing it. We
Mhm.
do see Kifre take some trips to like, what is the name of the witch's uh, base or whatever? It's like underwater or something. And he
Uh-huh.
meets the proctor of this second exam, the woman with the dark skin
All
and
right.
like the two-toned hair. You know who I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. Yep,
He
yep, yep.
meets with her in one of the early episodes of this season at whatever like place this is, where all the
I I don't remember that. All right. Uh-huh.
do you know what, you don't remember the name of the
No,
place,
no.
or you don't remember the scene at all?
I don't remember the scene. Like I remember her appear like later on. I don't remember like he met with her before. Is that
Yeah.
like back in like episode 2 or 3?
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here, and apparently it's episode 3. What I wrote, I don't know if this is the actual name of the place, but what I wrote down is it's the Underwater Great Hall. He
All right.
travels there in order to register Coco as his apprentice, and we meet Alaida
All right.
in that scene, and she calls him a problem child. Kifre, she calls him a problem child.
Mm.
Uh, you know, and we hear from him like in that scene where he creates that kind of dome around himself so he can get some privacy, and he tries to extract the matching coin from the ink pot. He's talking
Mm.
about how the brim caps have stolen something from him and he wants to get it back.
Mm.
I think it
Mm.
would have been nice if, during some of these scenes where Kifre goes off and he's on his own, like he's away from his students and he's going to the Great Hall, or he has
Mm-hmm.
like a conversation with Orugio, who is the watchful eye at their atelier, the guy with the beard.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Um, these scenes where he's by himself and he's not functioning as a teacher, it would be nice to get more information about his real agenda.
Mm.
Because right now it feels like he's too much in limbo between being the super nice guy with the like really accentuated gentle voice when he's speaking to his students, and being the
Mm.
mysterious guy who's wiping people's memories and trying to take back something that the brimmed caps have stolen from him.
Yep.
I just more clarity there. I think it would provide more tension. If we
Mm-hmm.
knew a little bit more about what he wanted, then there would be more interest in the scenes where he's presenting himself as like a benevolent teacher to his young students.
Yep.
That's I don't who knows whether that would work in the show's favor or not, but that would just be something I'd like to see. I think.
Yep. Yep. I agree. And yeah, even to like Lucio, who is like supposed to be the watchful eyes, also doesn't really like he sees something wrong with prefer something odd, but he doesn't really report anything as well.
Right.
Uh, yeah, it's just yeah, the whole thing just seemed a little bit weird, and also like the prim cap. Like I would say like the main politic behind that is that uh the pointed hat, which is like the current one that we have right now, um might have like try to restrict the power of the witches that never get them into full potential, and it's like uh the other fraction aim to just like open to the full potential, even though that it can be dangerous and it can be dark magic.
Right. Yeah. They want magic to be pushed. For when this new brimmed cap who has like an invisible face and body, all you see is
Mm.
the cap and the robe,
Yeah.
which is really neat. Like that's a cool idea,
Mhm.
and the animation's real tricky. He says something about like the forbidden spells that no one's been allowed to use. Been allowed to What am I saying? The forbidden spells that no one
Allowed.
has been allowed to use. I guess that's how you would express that. Like for
Uh-huh.
centuries or whatever,
Yep.
they haven't been like researched. So who
Mm.
the results of the spells are like unpredictable. Whoa, he turned into a shadow beast
Yep.
instead of a regular beast because We haven't had the opportunity to use these spells because they've been suppressed by the pointed caps. Those damn
Yep.
pointed caps, concerned with
Yep.
safety and shit. I hate them. I'm a brimmed cap, and I like turning people into monsters.
Right. Right. Right.
What's so wrong about that?
Ooh. Yep. Oh no.
There's also like an example of how kind of predictable the show is. Do you remember the cliffhanger where the Knights Morales apprehend Coco because she's used this like crushing spell or whatever on a
Right.
boulder,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and she ends up like breaking down the riverbank into sand and like stopping the flow of the
Mm-hmm.
river and stuff.
Yep.
They get alerted to the use of that magic somehow. I can't remember how. And then these Knights Morales, the guys in the red robes, they they arrest her and Agoto, I think, and they like wrap them up in their like cloth ribbons or whatever. And then the
Uh huh.
guy in his hand or something has like a little eye that's gonna wipe her
Yep.
memory, and that's the cliffhanger for episode 6 or something. There is
Mm.
just you just know watching that there is no way in hell that her memory gets taken away. There's like you're just wait okay, that's how you end the episode. All right, I guess I'll just wait 7 days to find out that that does not happen.
All right. And I have a question in regard to that as well. Um, they got triggered by the black magic, right? So that's why they came to Coco to like to finding out what happened and why that the memory. So why when Frey tried that ink and got splashed later on, there's no trigger at all? Why when the clothed guy who like doing the thing like turn someone into the beast, they not get trigger at all? It just
Well, I
doesn't
assume
really
that's
make
because
sense.
they're able to like conceal their magic because that's
All
they have
right,
like special they use special magic that's forbidden, right? So they must in
right,
order not to get completely wiped out by the Knights Morales, they must have a way to suppress it. So the signal doesn't
all right.
reach them or whatever. They're on a different radio frequency. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
I mean, the show does the all the detail that it goes into about its like magic systems and stuff does seem pretty well thought out, I guess. At the very least,
I
a lot
agree.
of information is provided. So
Yeah.
there's probably some reason why
Mm.
the knights don't catch
Uh,
on to what they're doing.
yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know what it is.
If there any things that I would say good about the show is that their system is actually really well thought out. They have like a whole lot of history and like the way it functions and all that. Like I said though, the characters I don't really care about. Like there there is before that there is an instance where Coco and the girls get trapped into like the labyrinth sort of things, and
Yeah,
they try to figure out, and like as expected at the end they come together with a plan where everyone can contribute in a way,
right.
and Queen Frey at the same time like found the portal and like help them in the nick of the time. uh what's the thing about the dragon, like Coco worrying about the dragon, um decided to make like a bed for the dragon with work, and then like just afterward just never really thought about that dragon anymore.
Well, why would she spend a whole bunch of time thinking about the dragon that they
The
just
dragon.
escaped from?
Right. Yep.
I
Yep.
will the scene where Kifre like accesses that dimension that they've been sucked into with the maze and the dragon and everything,
Hmm.
and he creates his own like water dragon um, in order to like fight
Hmm.
against
Hmm.
the
The actual dragon.
the actual dragon. Yeah, I mean that was
Yeah.
pretty cool looking. Um,
I agree.
but I was already kind of fatigued of the show's general atmosphere by that
Hmm.
time. Like when they're all in the maze and the girls are all fighting amongst themselves, but then they start to work as a team, and I don't know, it just feels very dull.
Hmm. yeah. I still bet that this show is like the most popular one of the most popular original show of the season.
Well,
So we don't
what do you mean by original?
by original I mean that it's not a sequel.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a new show. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
mean,
I
90
just
90% of anime or more come from
mhm,
are like adaptations of manga, like novels, etc.
right, yeah,
So I guess you can
yeah,
consider them to be original um, if they're not sequels. But I tend to think of like I don't know what's an original anime that
yeah,
aired
yeah.
recently. What's even an example? I mean, there are so few.
Oh, but if yeah, I I don't
Negapazi
think of
Angler was an original show.
right. Yes, maybe for this season, my toxin. I'm not sure if
No,
this
that's
is
based on a
original
manga.
show. See, uh, the, all right. I just go through quickly on this season, and I can find it. All right,
There's usually at least one every season because when I do the season preview, I spot it.
right.
The big one coming up next season is Sayonara Lara.
Hmm.
It looks pretty promising.
Yeah. No, I cannot find one for now for this season.
Well,
Wow.
that's not good. Um, okay, so one nice thing I can say about Witch Hat Atelier is I liked episode 3.
All right.
That's the
Is that
one where Coco takes the test, the first
the
test,
test? Hmm.
when Agot kind of like traps her in whatever they have those really cool like
Portal.
rotating stone
Yeah.
teleportation thingamajigs
Hmm.
where
Yeah.
you turn it and you will like spawn in a different place when you go through the middle of it.
Yeah.
Agot like traps her in the place where you take the first test, and she's not able to come back. So
Yeah.
she takes the test, and I really like that episode, not just because there was some really nice flying animation, but because Coco's like her success in the test is kind of tied to her connection with her mother.
Hmm.
The way that she makes the sail that she can put on she attaches a sail to like part of a boat, right, or a broom or something, in order
Yeah.
for her to catch the wind and fly up and grab that plant.
Hmm.
And when she's constructing the sail so that she'll be able to catch the current, she is flashing back to her time as an assistant to her mom, who was a seamstress, and how she would like draw lines on the fabric and cut it and like sew it very specifically.
Hmm.
So I thought that was it was a good connection between Coco's story, her history. The reason why she's pursuing magic this way is so that she can turn her mother back to normal. So it connected that with her current trial as a witch.
Hmm.
Plus, that was the episode that introduced the Brush Buddy, and the Brush Buddy is so cute. That little fuzzy guy
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
is the Brush Buddy is actually my favorite character in the
All
show.
right. Because he's unpredictable, right? Because he doesn't really talk much. He
Yeah,
doesn't talk at
probably
all.
because he doesn't talk. Well, he's also the cutest character.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, every main characters, every main girls, especially which will have their mascot.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's why I found a show in unrelated note. I found an original show in this season. That's Machiko Sister Luluto Lily.
Magical Sister Ruruto Lily.
Yeah,
Okay.
from a studio period.
Oh, Perot.
Yeah. So
Okay. Cool.
we have
Should
our
have watched
original
that
shows.
instead.
Yeah,
It's another show about magic.
yeah, yeah. All right. Any other thought before we address the elephant in the room?
Nah. I was, just kind of bummed out
Mhm.
by the show, but everybody loves it, so That's
Yeah.
great.
All right. Here to the show that maybe not everyone will love it. Awajima Hyakkei or 100 Scenes of Awajima.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
Uh,
you were
yeah,
definitely correct about this show going in. Like you had it as your number one pick
right.
for the season, and you're definitely right about that. It's
Well,
very good.
I love the mangaka for once. I love all her anime base from her shows. Both of them. It felt very personal. Um, it's all about characters and their their relationship. So this one is just up my valley. At what point though, watching this show, I feel totally lost. Just because of the huge characters and where they fit in the big puzzle. Uh, I think it's come back at the end though, where it tried to tie like the most important narrative, and we can see uh the ending of that. But overall, I think it's still a pretty good ones, even though that there are still many characters that I'm not quite sure where they are.
Yeah.
So we can do a little bit of figuring out where they are in the whole big scheme.
Oh my God, I wrote down so many notes about every episode. This is probably the most that I've ever.
Right.
I'm just going page after page after page in this Word doc. This is probably the most that most effort I've ever put into like tracking who all the characters are, and I still could not. If I had to take a test on this show,
Uh,
I don't know that I would pass.
all right.
Um,
The one thing that I would recommend this show, if they do so to differentiate between each era, so that we know which era we are from. I think one good way that they can do with that is just to make the girls' uniform a little bit different from depending on each era.
right.
Maybe just change the colors. Maybe just change a little bit of their design so that we know that would help a lot.
Yeah. I kind of feel as though there were differences, but they were very subtle. Certainly, the
Right.
school changed over time. Because when
Yeah.
we
Mm.
flash back to the one of the earliest generations that
Yep.
Awajima Hyakkei covers, with
Yep.
Ibuki Sensei as a young girl, and
Mm.
her like being the ringleader of a group of bad girls or
Yep.
whatever it was. I mean, it was kind of vague what position she held exactly that would cause people to be
Mm.
so afraid of her.
Right.
And we don't know exactly what she did to Okabe or Omura in order
Yep.
for both of them to leave the school. But that whole scene, which is not the earliest generation that the show depicts, but the earliest generation perhaps of like multiple students. Um,
Mm.
like the there's more wood in the architecture of the interior scenes, I think. Like the sliding doors that lead into classrooms are made out of wood as opposed
Right.
to whatever material they're made out of in um,
Mm. Mm.
future generations, I guess.
Yep.
And I think there may be slight differences to the school uniforms over time, but I didn't. I mean, that would have been a good thing to investigate going back through some of the episodes, just taking screenshots and stuff. But
Agree.
I
Agree.
will say, I kind of like how densely written this show is and how difficult it is from time to time to
Right.
determine where you are in the show's timeline and which characters are which,
Mm.
because it kind of creates a sense of universality
Right.
to the experience of attending like a prestigious school like this with kind of a cutthroat environment.
Mm.
Um,
Agree.
it kind of creates the sense that people are people and that they're the same in every era. So
Mm.
even if you're jumping around in time from group of characters A to group of characters B to C, etc. Um, it's not always important that we know exactly who we're looking at or exactly
Mm.
when we're looking at them
Yeah.
because they they all kind of want the same things. They dream of stardom. They
Mhm.
dream of like finding a place at this school or in the entertainment industry beyond. They
Mhm.
dream of getting along with their senpai that they room with, because there's always like an upperclassman and a freshman who room
Mhm.
together. And that's how this school is set up. And they dream of making friends, and uh, they just have very like universal desires,
Mhm.
and holding off on clarifying exactly what's happening at all times is a
Mhm.
sort of a way that you can communicate that message indirectly.
Yeah. And just to further what you just said as well, I think the main characters in this show is the school itself. So I think it's essential to have like the settings remain the same, where like we checking on with like all the characters from different era because like you said, they want the same thing. Uh, it's uh each generation will have like different dynamic, but they all like kind of speak on the same things as well. So I think that worked.
Yeah, I thought this show, like, I thought the direction was really good. Um,
I
I mean, I
expect.
to be
Mm,
expected, perhaps.
right.
This is Morio Asaka. He is like the shoujo specialist at Madhouse and has been for 30 years.
Mm,
Um,
yep.
but yeah, man, like there are a lot of pillow shots in this show where it'll hold on an image as a character is talking
Yep.
about their feelings about themselves or their families or their friends or their school or what have you. Some of them stuck out to me a lot. Like the
Mm,
let me think, who was it? So in episode one, we're introduced to Wakana, who seems to be the
yep.
protagonist until the show is like, nope, there is no protagonist. uh, it loops back around to Wakana being kind of a driving character in the conclusion of the
Yep.
show.
Yep.
But she appears in episode one. Then we get a bunch of backstory in episodes 2 and 3 about previous generations of students. Then she appears for a little bit in episode 4. Then she disappears again for a long time. Anyway,
Yep.
um, after Wakana in episode 1 as a freshman is paired together with Kinue, the blonde
Mhm.
uh, girl who goes on to become like an A-list actress. Uh, Eventually, we meet the roommate that Wakaba, herself having become an upperclassman, we
Yep.
meet the freshman that she rooms with, whose
Mhm.
name is. I think this was episode
Alright.
9.
Yep.
Yes. The girl's name is Kashiwabara, Akiho
All right.
Kashiwabara. And she has two parents who are actors who are super famous, and they're like a power
Yep.
couple, but they get caught in a cheating scandal.
Yep.
And she only the Kashiwabara, the freshman who is paired
Yep.
together with Wakaba, she only appears in episode 9. There are many characters in this show who appear for just one episode,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
she is one of them. But I just remember we get a lot of her inner thoughts about marriage and about family, and specifically one interesting thing that her character is always talking about and thinking about is the sorts of answers that she will have to like interview questions once she becomes a big
Mm,
star. She
mm,
thinks about
mm,
the way that she wants to respond to the questions that she will inevitably get as the
mm.
child of famous parents. It's just very interesting to think about the impact that your like
Yep.
having famous parents has on a child. They start to think of themselves as potentially being famous and like hypothesizing scenarios, what they'll say, what they'll do once they have achieved a similar position. Anyway,
Yep.
during one of her monologues when she's like mulling over her parents' relationship and the impact that it's had on her. There's a shot of like their house. Uh,
Yep.
the background is completely black, which creates the effect sort of the house like being on a sound stage or something. It looking kind of artificial because it's not set in the real world. It's got a perfectly black background, and then there's like a reflecting pool in front of it, so that a mirror image of the house inverted is like immediately underneath it. And the show like
mm,
holds on that image as Kashiwabara is thinking to herself about like the purpose of family, the purpose of marriage, and
mm,
whether it's really authentic or not. And holding on that image of the house kind of like puts you in her mind space,
yeah,
um, where
yeah,
it's there's the house above the water, and then the reflection of it, like which is real. Is it an illusion? Um, is it authentic or not?
mm.
Just
Is it
so
just a
many.
stage? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very staged. It looks very artificial. There are so many
Mm,
like good decisions made about
mm,
what images to hold on while
right.
characters are thinking to themselves about these sorts of topics. Um,
Mm,
and that was one that particularly stuck out to me. But there are dozens.
yeah. Uh, that make this show starts different to Atelier, right? So like here we got like a whole heaps of like uh have like dozen of characters who are really have their personality, whereas in Atelier we have like a bunch of like characters who like speak the same way, react the same way that we expected them to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Also,
I don't know.
yeah,
Is that a fair comparison?
uh, yeah, well, I think so. Uh, also, you remind me of the other characters in this show. Like remember a girl who afraid to go to the public bath with other
Yes.
girls, basically, right?
Yes.
We have like the whole episode about her, about what she feel with her family, who her parents who are in the cult group, and then she just like try best not to mention about them, even though they are really supportive of her, like the things that many other characters in this show might have not. Uh, she feel resentment to them as well because they are in the group and she try to separate themselves. So I think that's a really good episode about her as well. I do wonder though, is she become a big star in the future?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Right.
We there are many characters whose stage names we learn because that's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
tradition at Awajima, I guess, is that upon graduation you
Yeah.
choose a stage name for yourself. I don't know
Mm.
if we ever learn her stage name.
Yeah. True.
And that would be the indicator that she like became famous or had a big career or something. But I
Mm.
mean, she's not a one-off character. Certainly, the first half of episode 5, her name is
Mm.
Asami Okubo, and the first half of episode 5, because many episodes are split into 2 or even 3 chapters, and they begin with those like title cards, I guess, where you get the images of the girls
Yeah.
who are going to kind
Hmm.
of feature in that chapter and their names as well. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
helpful. That's the one kind of hint that the
Mm.
show provides.
Yeah.
So you have
Agreed.
to like take a screenshot of all those when they pop up so that you can refer back to them
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if we. I think in episode 1 we hear about a girl who like won't go into the public
Yeah.
baths, and that's kind of like our insight into the fact that there are going to be tensions at this school.
Mm.
Is that this girl who we don't yet know is having like a breakdown about having to share bathwater with other people.
Yeah.
Um, and but she's like famous among the other students for her singing voice. She apparently has
Yeah.
like a really beautiful singing voice.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
that was an interesting story. There are
Uh,
just so many.
yeah.
There's
There's so many. There's one really confused me about the girl who can hear like sort of like the voices from the past, and
okay.
then she.
Yes. That was
I
episode
think
6.
I think this is the one where like they cross the generation because the one that she talking in the stair, I'm not really sure if that person is real for once, and if like they are some previous characters that we have seen before. Uh, it just like, oh, that after that episode it's confused the hell. Lord Army.
Yeah. So there. I don't even know how to begin talking about this episode. It's really difficult for me to remember the story exactly. In fact, I'm scrolling through the notes that I made
Right.
for this one in particular, and one of my bullet points just says, "This shit is complicated." Uh, so,
All
but I
right.
do remember it was like Romeo and Juliet themed. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
there's a culture festival in that episode, and like later ones. Do you remember the three new generation girls? Their names are like
Uh-huh.
Saya.
Sarah.
Oh, is it
I,
yeah, Sada, e- Eri, I think, and there are two
yep.
Eris. There's Eri, and then
Yep.
her friend is also named Eri.
Yep.
And
I
then there's
just,
like Sayaka or something. Shizuka. It's Shizuka.
yep.
They all
Uh-huh.
have their individual backstories. They're all related to like past Awajima students, or else people who were friends with past students from
Mm-hmm.
Awajima who didn't manage to get into the school themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anyway, I don't even know why I brought them up. Why did I bring them up?
Yeah. They have something to do with the ghost stories.
I man.
No?
Oh yeah, I remember now. I was talking about the culture festivals. Those
Right.
three, the new generation girls. It's that culture festival where it's their culture festival, not part of episode 6,
Yeah.
but the later one. That's where like Wakana. Is it Wakana or Wakaba? It's
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Wakana,
yeah.
right?
Well, it's the girl who come back to talk about
Yeah,
yeah Wakana.
yeah. She does. She's the guest speaker at the culture festival. So that's the culture festival that's like more, I guess, pivotal to the way the show kind of resolves itself. But there is also a culture festival in episode 6, and Romeo
Mhm.
and Juliet is the play they put on.
Right.
Um,
Is that the
but
one
there's
where
also like in that same
Kinoe?
episode, there's flashbacks to a girl named like Horiuchi who
Right.
opens the episode with narration about like she fears the living more than the dead.
Right.
So
Because
you
she
have
she
to
get released.
assume that the bullying and the like the harsh atmosphere and the competitiveness that Awajima is famous for is even impacting whatever generation Horiuchi belongs to,
Mhm.
um, which is well before even Wakana's time at the school. And
Yeah.
there's like a particular line, not the most imaginative ghost story, not the most imaginative ghost story. Horiuchi says it, I think, like just before the commercial break, and then, or dude, I don't even know. That like
Yeah.
that particular line is repeated by two characters, Horiuchi and then also Kinue, the
Right.
blonde main
Mm-hmm.
character. She says it too. And there are like connections between the two time periods all throughout the episode. But see, the thing about episode 6 is that was the first one that did not
Yeah.
use those
Title
like title
card.
cards with the
Yeah.
images of the characters and the names. That wasn't part of episode 6 at all. So it was intended to be super confusing.
Mm.
Uh
That's the one where Kinoe played Romeo, right? And then
yes, and Ryoko, her friend, who we
mm,
learned about in the very first episode. Like she had a friend in middle school or whatever who did not
yeah,
apply to go to
yeah,
Awajima
yeah.
with her, and they kind of drifted apart. But then Ryoko is in like half the episodes. She's got multiple connections to different characters.
Yeah.
Uh, but episode 6 is kind of what like brings her back into the fold, I think,
Yeah.
because she comes to the culture festival to see her old friend perform,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, they rekindle their relationship or something.
Right. Um, you
It's
did
just
mention
so
to me before.
it's
Yeah.
so confusing.
Yes. Well, I agree. You did mention to me before. You said, like in the 4 episode, there are one really good episodes. Which one was it that
Oh,
you
like
was
in
mentioning
within the
before?
first 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think episode 3 was incredible. That was the one that went into Ibuki's backstory.
Right.
Ibuki sensei being the teacher, the demon teacher that everyone's afraid of,
Mm,
but Wakana ends up
yeah.
bonding with. We flash
Mm,
back to her as a young girl, but even before
All
she's
right.
born, we also get the story of her mother and of her grandmother. And
Yep.
even her
Yep.
grandmother, who like does not have a lot of love for her daughter because she doesn't see herself
Yep.
in her daughter really, and she's kind of self-absorbed, being a big
Mm.
like film
Mr.
or stage star.
Yep.
Uh, just the fact that it's cutting back and forth between those three generations at will,
Mm.
um, but yet the imagery is so strong and it connects everything together is
Yep.
incredible.
Yep. Yep.
Like there's an image of the grandmother looking like the line work used to illustrate her character in this one shot of her like with her chin on her hand as she looks off into the distance. Um, the lines are extremely loose. It's as though her character is like falling apart almost.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Um, and it kind of that style used for that image and similar images kind of illustrates that her I don't know, like her perfect world that she created for herself, where she is the center of everything and is adored by the public and is trying to rule over her daughter and her granddaughter's lives with an iron fist, has fallen apart.
Mm.
Like the visual presentation, the way her character is illustrated, really syncs up with um, the fact that at the end of her life, she doesn't have the same amount of control, and is perhaps looking back at her relationships with
Mm.
her family in discontentment.
Yep. Yep.
That
Oof.
image was really great. The shot of Ibuki as a
Mm.
student performing like as the Ice Queen in
Mm.
one play or another, uh, and like the horns that she's wearing that are made out of ice kind of frame her as the demon that people will eventually consider her to be, even in the future,
Yep.
like when she becomes a
Mm.
teacher and the students refer to her that way.
Yep.
You
Yep.
hear in her narration that that was like the only time that she really made an impact on stage.
Yep.
So all of the manipulating of people that she did and the bullying and whatever else she did that we don't know exactly
Mm.
um, wasn't it didn't it didn't have it didn't have the effect that she wanted. Like she didn't become a huge star. She only stood
Mm.
on stage and had that opportunity really that one time.
And
Um,
she also mentioned that the irony is that she only played well when she a villain.
mm,
That as well. So,
right.
oh god,
Yeah.
that's so
And
good.
in after you see that image of her with the tone of the image is very blue and she's got the horns on and it's casting shadows over her eyes and you've got all the spindly looking icy branches behind her as part of the set of this play. Maybe it's the Nutcracker or something, I don't know. Uh, then the shots immediately after that are all like um, her peers in the audience just totally like isolated, like white backgrounds,
Mm.
just the image
Mm.
of the people who perhaps that she has bullied or mistreated, other members of her gang, and it's all of them like looking at her, but with nothing around them, just the image of them from like the chest up, I guess, and you can't see their facial features
Mm.
to
Mm.
highlight the emptiness of Ibuki's accomplishment. Like she made it up on stage, but so what?
Mm.
She pushed away
Yeah.
like more talented people. She had them. They like left this. They left school because of the treatment that she subjected them to. But she only ever got this one chance to shine as a result of all that.
Right. And in a way, she's the victim of all these Awajima thing as well because she not be able to leave behind. So she stay there for like for most of her life, still finding her own voice or like just try to redeem herself.
Right. Yeah. She's like haunted by the ghosts of Awajima, I guess, and that's kind of what that really confusing sixth episode is about.
Mm.
Because I think we get the title of the episode, but not the names of the characters who are going to be involved. And then it's called like Awajima Ghost Story or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Perhaps that episode is like the key to unlocking the whole series, but I wouldn't know because I
Oh. Definitely, this is the one show that I would love to go back to. I think that we will get more sense of the characters and like how everything connect together. Now that we kind of like remember all the correct most of the characters, so
Yeah.
I think this one will would benefit a lot of like rewatch if we have the time to rewatch it.
Yep. I mean, so many of the characters are linked together in ways that are easy to forget. For
Yeah, yeah,
example,
agree.
the girl who leaves Awajima, Emi Okabe, who's like the really beautiful,
Mm,
really talented girl that Ibuki wants to be friends with, but she ends up
yeah,
pushing her away.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, she had a childhood friend named Echan,
Right.
who is the sister of the father of Kinue, the blonde girl who is Wakana's roommate, who goes on to become a big
Yep,
time actress.
yep, yep.
So that I mean that that's a detail that's so easy to like forget, but those
Mm,
two characters are linked together,
right.
even though perhaps they've never met.
Yeah,
Kinue
yeah,
and Emi
yeah.
Okabe.
Hmm.
There are a lot of I couldn't list for you all the like the character pairings of like one girl goes to Awajima and her friend from middle school doesn't get in or didn't apply or
Yeah.
whatever. But that motif is repeated through the
Mm.
show quite a lot. And
Remember the
there's usually like the one more like better looking or more talented girl
yeah.
who gets in or who has better connections. Perhaps her family are like alumni or something, and then
Yeah.
one person has to like just support them, I guess, if
Uh-huh.
that. And
Remember,
the prototype
yeah,
for that relationship, I guess, would be Kinue and Ryoko in the show. But there are many other
yeah,
examples.
yeah. Remember the three girls that they are now adults. We see them a lot in the adult time. Whereas one of them is like the waitress. One of them is like the superstar, and the other one who like I think they haven't talked. They haven't met her for a while, but they rekindle afterwards, and then they go on to star on a new things or like play on the
Yes.
same play.
Yeah. You're talking
Where
about Saori Yamagata, who has the
yeah,
stage
where
name Yuki
right,
Kaburagi. There's the presence of the stage names really throws a
yeah,
wrench into things. But Saori is like the other blonde character.
right,
And
uh-huh.
we do see her at Awajima a little bit, but we
Where
mostly
they
see
fit
her as
in?
an adult.
Sorry, where are they fit in all of the generation? So are they in the same generation with Kinue and
No, they're
Wakana,
older.
or they are older? Right,
Yeah, they're older.
right.
They're not as old as Ibuki Sensei and Emi Okabe and the third girl with the braids,
Right,
but they're not as young as Kinue or Wakana or anyone else in that
right,
generation.
right. Yeah.
And yeah, Saudi kind of had her stuff is kind of isolated compared to what how the show the direction that the show ends up going in. Because the
Mm,
last I don't know maybe two and a third episodes are about the book that Wakana writes.
yeah. Mm,
Uh, but Saudi and her friend's name is Kayo. She becomes an actress as well, but then she ends up like working for her uncle's publicity publishing firm
mm,
or something.
right,
Her uncle's talent agency. There it is. I just found it in my notes.
right. Yeah.
But then the third girl who you're talking about is Mikako Takeuchi, who is like prone to illness as a child.
I see, I see. I
Do
remember
you
that.
remember
Yeah,
the scene of her like in the hospital with her mom?
yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
that was such a beautiful like the
yeah.
scenes where she's in the hospital and she's like a really young girl and her mother is like encouraging her and telling her that she can be anything she wants to be,
Mm,
she could be a star. um it's just so beautiful.
yeah.
But the relationship between Mikako and Saori, they end up like taking each other's place in different productions on stage, and then event at the end, the resolution of episode 7, which is mostly like a standalone story,
mm,
is that they are gonna be like co-leads
mm.
of some new production, which was one of the happiest endings to any of
Right.
Awajima Hyakkei's stories.
Yeah. Yeah. For that, I have two more points. One of them is remember like this show is more about like female characters, but we have like a shot where we have like the two male characters who
Yes.
like who are the fan of these um of all the theater stuff like come
Yeah.
together
Like the
and
Awajima review.
yeah, 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 love that.
Yeah, that was fun. You know what that reminded me of was actually Morio Asaka's previous series. I don't know if you watched it. It was called Yamada-kun to Level 999 no Koi wo Suru. Do you remember
Uh-huh.
this? It's like the college
Yep.
age rom-com
Yeah.
about the girl
Yeah.
who meets the guy who's like MMO guild she ends up joining.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, I do
Um,
remember that.
it does that segment of episode 4 that you're talking about with the younger guy and the older dude who he meets, I think, on the internet, and they talk about
Hmm.
the Awajima review, reminded me of that series, that Yamada-kun series, because that show was
Hmm.
very online. Like there were a lot of digital conversations between characters, given that they were all playing the same MMO. And in Awajima Hyakkei, you see a lot of like uh, online exchanges between the the kid. I have their names because they recurred in episode 12, if you remember.
Hmm.
Their names are Takuto. That's the name of the young kid who you see as an adult in episode 12, and the
Hmm.
older man is named Sayaka.
Huh, okay.
Just the fandom that they're involved in, like, takes place through text messages and online chats and stuff. That's the way that it's framed. So that reminded me of that show.
Right. And the second point that I want to bring up is that I'm really glad that it's end in episode 11 and 12 that like they kind of like because of the book they bring all the characters together, and they also the show feature a lot of like reuse scene that we see before, like even to the ending where we see shot of like MB Okabe segment that we already see before, and it's ended with like her crying on the bus, and I think it's just kind of like the perfect ending that this show has.
I went back and watched episode 2
Right.
after I
Hmm.
finished the show, and
I don't.
there's a difference between the two
Right.
scenes.
I don't think I see her cry like actually crying on the bus on the episode 2, but I might be wrong on that.
It's the opposite. You do see her crying on the bus in episode 2, and you see that same scene of the guy who like spots her and then gets off the bus,
Yep.
and his friend comes up to him and says, "Hey, dickwad, what are you
Yep.
like? Why are you so distracted or whatever?" He says, "I saw a beautiful woman crying on the bus."
Right.
Um, in episode 2, you see her crying, and then you see that conversation between the two guys, and the camera does not return to Emmy. But in
I see.
episode 12, it does cut back onto the bus, and you see her wipe away her tears and kind of like stare, forward out of frame, like with determination.
Mm.
And that's the last shot before it cuts to the shot of the ocean with the seagull or
Yeah.
whatever flying and the credits rolling.
Is yeah.
So in episode 12, you see the continuation, I suppose, of that
Right.
scene where you see uh, Emmy like um,
Mm.
gather the willpower, I guess, or the determination or whatever to live, to live the rest of her life cheerfully. Because
Yep.
she, in all of the conversation about her,
Mm.
like from her family members, when Wakana is consulting with them about whether
Mm.
or not she should go forward with this book, they all have like nothing but love for her, and all the photographs that are displayed of her are, she's smiling in all of them. There's that one where she's wearing that big hat and is holding a garden hose, and is in in the midst of her garden and all that, and she's got a big smile on her face.
Mm, mm. Yeah.
So she
Is
must, despite what happened to her, she must have, you know, found the willpower. She must have made a conscious decision to live the best life that she could, even though she was
mm,
robbed of the opportunity to perhaps go forward and make
yeah.
use of her talents.
Is it make the story a bit more tragic if she decided to kill herself instead of like living a, a life, another life, just because that make Ibuki guilt a, a bit more pronounced? What do
Who are
you
we talking
reckon?
about?
All right, Emi
Ibuki, is
Okabe's.
that the girl with the braids who does uh, attempt suicide?
No, no, no. So, remember, like Ibuki Sensei,
Oh, right.
who feel really guilty about the whole things.
Yes.
It isn't it make it more, I guess, more dramatic. Is Emi Okabe just commit suicide instead of like
Well,
uh,
she
having a family and the two sons and live happily ever after, like nothing ever happened to her.
Well, I don't think she lives like nothing ever happened to
Yeah,
her.
right.
Um, Surely the effects, the impact of what happened at Awajima stayed with her. Her
Mm,
husband says as much.
mm,
That there was always a part of her that he couldn't understand, that was like closed off to him
mm,
as a result of what she experienced at Awajima. And I think that's part of why he wanted Wakana to go forward with the book, so people could like so people could understand that part of his wife that he didn't, that they might know who she was and what she went through and what would have caused a part of her to be locked away.
mm.
Um, so I think there already was a suicide attempt, but it wasn't Emmy who tried to kill herself. It was the girl with the
Right.
braids.
I don't
Um,
remember her. All
okay,
right.
so in episode 2, that's the one. That's the flashback to the generation with Emmy and Ibuki Sensei as a student, and there's
Right.
a third girl. So her name is Yukie.
Ah,
Her first
yeah.
name is Yukie, and the last name is
I
Omuda
see. I
or
see.
something. Let me see.
Yeah.
Scrolling through my notes.
So she the one who
Onoda.
Emi Okabe. So she the one who Okabe kind of like defends her because she said like she have better skill than any of the other girls, right?
Right.
Right.
Right. So initially, Okabe and Ibuki, as a student, are friends, and everyone
Mm,
thinks, oh, they're just like two. They're so perfect together. They're like perfect beings. And
mm,
then the cast list for an upcoming production at Awajima is posted, and Ibuki is not on it. It's
right.
Emi Okabe and Yukie Onoda, the girl with the braids.
Right.
Um, yeah, and as you said, Emi sticks up for her and says she's more talented than all of you. And this we hear in episode 11, which revisits a lot of those scenes from Ibuki Sensei's perspective. Or maybe
Mm,
that's the end of episode 10 that does that, actually. In any case, when we revisit those scenes from Ibuki Sensei's perspective, she says that like that moment kind of ruined her
mm,
because Emmy acknowledged that there was someone else who was a better partner for her, someone else who was more on her level,
mm,
and that would be the girl with the braids. And in episode 2, we see, I mean, when Okabe is like on the bus crying, it's
mm.
because she's just visited at the hospital the girl with the braids,
I see. I
Yukie
see. I see.
Onoda, who attempted suicide. It's implied.
Right.
She visits her in the hospital,
Mm. Right. I remember that now.
and she
Yep. Yep. Yep.
says, she's like, Emmy is pissed at her and says, what would I have done if you had actually died? What you did was so stupid. and Yukie says, I am gonna die. I may have failed this time, but I am, it's my time. It's my time to go. I don't know if that means she tried to kill herself again upon release, or if what she had done created like medical complications and she passed away afterwards. But yeah, somebody did try to kill themselves, but it wasn't Emmy.
Right, right. All right. Yep, that make the whole thing even more tragic, I guess. Wow.
Yeah, going back and watching episode 2 is really interesting after you've finished it and after the show has gone in the direction of Wakana publishing this book about the history of abuse
Mm,
at Awajima, and the whole decision by the Awajima Review to like adapt her book for the
yep.
stage, and the
Mm,
varying opinions about that, from Emmy's remaining family and from fans in general who are kind of represented by those two guys who are fans who you brought up
mm,
before,
yep.
and a bunch of other characters too. We also see in that episode all three of like the new generation girls, Sara,
Right.
Eri, and Shizuka, have all become
Yep.
actresses, and they all have their own stage names, all
Wow.
of which I wrote down, but I guess they're not really relevant. Um,
uh, I love that they are the one who really obsessed with like the writing of the name. Of like how
the
that
kanji.
sound or state, yeah, the country, and like all the meaning behind the name. And is it like really good, or like a good stage name or not, so everyone just say that, like Sarah Takanashi is a full name. It's a really really good stage name. It's like the best. Love that. uh,
Yeah, I think it was Eri in particular who was really particular about names.
mm, yep.
She was the girl who had another friend who was also named Eri, whose boyfriend
Yeah.
was named Kei, and Kei's mother was also friends with Ryoko,
Oh, wow.
who
Okay.
was the middle school friend of Kinue. Like the character web is of this show is just crazy.
Wow. Yep. Oh boy.
Yeah, but the complexity of it adds to the appeal, I think, and the effect of
Yeah.
so many people like wanting to attend Awajima and to find success and fame, um, and everybody having an individual story despite their many of their motivations being the same is kind
Yeah.
of what makes the show so I don't know, makes the characters so
Awesome.
interesting and makes the show feel human.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So vibrant. Like each characters have their own, like their whole personality, their whole thing going on against them. That even though, like the character design can be plain at times, you can tell them apart from each other.
Well,
By
maybe you
plain, I
can.
mean, all right. By
Sometimes I was
plain, I mean,
lost.
yeah. By plain, I mean that because they, like they wearing the same uniform. They sort of, you know, uh, a lot of them, and like that doesn't really put on the fact that they get older. We see the older version of themselves. We see their stage name versus their real name. We see their, the name that they got when they get family versus their own name. So like all sort of changes in their life. Uh, Boy, that was a lot to take.
Yep. Yeah, it's a challenging watch, um, and its audience was probably minimal as a result.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm a I'm a fan of the director, but
Mm,
I didn't expect this from him. I thought this was going to be I thought the show was going to be solid, but
yeah.
I think this might be his second best work after
Wow.
Nana.
Big claim. Like I'm a fan of the mangaka, and I also didn't expect it to be, like this challenging, I guess,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
So
very
in a
very
good way, in a
different.
good way. yeah.
The Aoi Hana and what is Wandering
Wandering
Sun's
Boys.
Japanese name?
Wandering Son. Uh, no clue. Wandering Son.
I used to know it because I didn't used to call it Wandering Sun. I used to call it whatever the Japanese title is. I've forgotten now, as I've tended to
All right.
start using English name. Did you
Hor-
get it?
Horo. Yeah. Horo Mushuku.
That's right, Horo
Mushuku. Yeah.
Musko. Yeah. Um, both of those shows are more like intimate character studies. I feel
Mm,
they're not
mm,
quite as broad
yeah.
as Awajima.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. But still very fantastic characters writing. I really love the way that she depict the characters. Like all their complexities and like all their vulnerability as well.
Yeah, and you've also got the Morio Asaka humor. Like
Mm,
the little moments where a character will be uh, surprised at something that someone else has said, and they'll kind of give them like a weird, like a sly little look,
yep.
or their thoughts will be, put on screen as a little, not a speech bubble, but just the text. It'll like start
Mm,
near their head and kind of drift away from it a little bit to draw your eye.
yep.
He's done that in so many series of his, and it
Mm,
popped up, a few times here, which I always appreciated.
yep. All right, but a really good show. All things considered, and I even with like Atelier, who like we all agree that it's in the worst show of these three. I still like I still don't mind the time that I'm watching it. So like the three shows I think taps was spent with them.
All right, it's pretty optimistic.
I'm more of the up, optimistic guy than you. So
Yeah,
uh
it seemed to be a pretty good season. I mean, there's stuff from this season that I haven't explored beyond the first episode or two that I'm still interested in. We had some good shows in this group of three,
mm,
and there's plenty of stuff that I'm looking forward to from
the
the
next
summer
season.
season as well. I just wrote up the season preview for Starcrossed, and I've got some shows at the very top of my list that we will be discussing in a few weeks' time.
Yep. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, we
I
got
hope you
two Science
include.
Saru shows.
Oh right. I hope you include Saga of Tanya the Evil on your most participant.
It is not, but certainly many people are anticipating that show as its first season was like a decade ago almost.
Yeah. Oh wow, it's back in 2017, so yeah, almost a decade ago. Wow. But there's a movie that was on later as well.
Right. That wasn't was that not just a compilation?
No, it's not. It's actually a new material. I watched that, so I
Oh,
know.
okay. Yeah, yeah, there'll be some cool shows in our first impressions of summer episode, which will go up in about 3 weeks.
All right, so looking forward to that, and yeah, we'll be back with you this time shortly. So see you then.
See you then.
Bye for now.